Well friends, in this segment we're going to work with the essential template. It's one of the corporate templates, but it's multi-purpose, meaning you can also set up a small store alongside it. However, its main use is corporate. We can purchase the essential template, for example, from Rustaken or Jacket. Once we purchase it, they give us a file like this saying, hey, I have a theme, I have a plugin, an easy installer, and a documentation section. The easy installer files are usually a zip file and an installer file. We upload these and we can bring our template up on the folder we created. Well, I can bring it up with this installer and start installing it. I remembered this so that I can definitely be on top of it later. Alright guys, here we need to go and create the database. We go into the database and set our name. For example, I name it Coes. I create this database and now it tells me it already exists. So I create another one with a different name. For example, I name it Coes1. I create this one too. Guys, in the next part, I need to create my user as well. We said that it's better to name the user and the database the same so that we can easily manage them when there are many. We move on to the user itself, and it asks for a password. I say, okay, it generates a password for me. I copy it and place it here, and in this section, I paste it into the password part of the installer. Now I need to assign the database and the user to each other. I come to this section and find my database. It was QIS1 and the user was exactly the same. Well, I connect these to each other and give it the necessary permissions in the database. I place both the user and the database here. I proceed to test the database to see if it's okay, and it confirms to me saying it's okay. Let's go to set it up. I check this box down here and move on to the next step. It also asks for a confirmation. Now it's extracting our file so it can start the installation. Now it says, sir, here are the databases that exist in the file. You can choose whether to include some or not. But we don't touch this and say, sir, it's completely fine for me. Install it and import my database. At this stage, guys, it says, sir, it's done. I can come here and define my new admin for it. For example, I can create a user named Mason with a password like this. It also asks for an email, so I provide it with an email. And move on to the next step. And guys, it's that simple. I can use the template I purchased. Now this template is essential. Whatever template you buy, whether from Raquel, Artel, or even from abroad like ThemeForest, you can install it in the same way. Now guys, I log into the website environment and come to this section. As we said, all templates have template settings. So it says this is looking for the template settings. Essential itself, this is the main page that I have. So when I log in and refresh, the admin bar will appear at the top for me. Now guys, the settings it provides me say that you can define your logos in different modes, set background colors, even place images, and define a back to top button for it. In the pop-up section, I can define pop-ups. The sidebar section can be defined for different places like the store. Now, the API key, for example, for Google Maps, if your domain is .ir, you generally cannot use the map. The topic of cookie acceptance, which you usually see on websites, is when it says that this site is using your cookies and you need to be aware and give your consent. Now, it's not very common among Iranians to give such a message, but you can replace it with other messages. Or if it's important to you, you can use this. The topic is the animation of pages, which is about what happens when you switch to other pages. There's a custom 404 page that you can now enable and assign a page to it. There are settings related to Elementor, like whether to activate templates or not, and a series of conditions and rules that exist for Elementor pages, which you can enable or disable. There's also an advanced section that exists. For example, if I have the style of the contact form plugin, I can read it from the template. Or for example, sir, disable lazy load for us because Essential by default has its own lazy load or that load toggle. Now, enabling that mouse cursor can be placed here and we can change the existing state for it, meaning when the mouse moves, a cursor or a pointer is defined for it. Now, we have defined it here. Let's refresh it and see what happens to it. Do you see? Or it seems like it has changed this cursor. You see the state is very faint in color. I can change its color and say, sir, for example, put a green color for me so that I can understand what it looks like, because it's not very clear for you in the image. For example, you see its color has now turned green. I can even change this mouse cursor in this section. The next part we have, guys, is the categorization section, which says you can define your header and footer from this part, disable it, or set it to default. And from the header section, I can customize my header or footer based on my needs. And I can go here to edit it and edit the header or footer I have based on my needs. Now let's see together a header that it has defined for itself, meaning it's not Elementor, and we can customize any element we need, add or remove it. The footer is exactly the same way, guys. It has a banner section which says you can define a banner even on your site. The search section which says how the search display should look. And is the icons section which says you can define the icons for social networks here. If you have Facebook, Twitter, and other social networks. It's about colors, where I can define my primary color, secondary color, and how the link color should be. So if I want to set a background, I can define it. It brings up all the color settings for me and tells me to choose my desired colors. There's also an advanced section that says if you need custom CSS or JS, you can add it. We learned that CSS and JS can be customized either in the theme's own customization or in the custom section. We don't rely on a judge, and we use plugins. Related. The related section, guys, the next part is the blog section, which gives me the option that if my blog page has a template built into this theme, it says I haven't built my blog section, but you can customize your blog section based on your needs, like how it should be displayed, what the content domain is, even in those existing cards, the internal page tricks, and other matters to us. It gives the option, sir, for how the introduction section should be advanced. For example, I can enable or disable the author, specify the tags, and other settings, even allowing me to edit deleted posts or related articles. There is a portfolio section, guys. It's a corporate template, and it provides me with a portfolio section that I can also customize based on needs and the options it has. You might be able to tweak these settings for each site you launch and change them according to your needs. For example, whether I need filters in the portfolio or not completely depends on the site. But templates usually provide all the features for you. Now, the discussion of its introduction is also in the same way, like how the style of the header or the intro of my portfolio page should be. We get to the pages themselves, where it says you can define the background color and a sidebar, and so on. You can even define a sticky sidebar. In the introduction section, it again says you can define how you want the header of your website or the intro of your website to look, and even set an image for it. The rest of the settings are about typography, where it says you can choose your fonts from the available ones. Since the template is localized for Persian, it includes all the Persian fonts that are useful for us, like Iran Sans. Like Iran Yekan, Arskale, and other fonts are provided for us. Now it says you can even set different fonts for your headlines and define how the colors should be. It has defined the colors for us. As you can see, it includes gray and other colors. Here in the footer section, remember it gave us the option to choose, for example, what shade of gray or blue we want. Now it gives me the ability to select those here so I can choose how the things I need should appear. I can define how the colors I need should be, even the weight of bold fonts, and things related to typography. I can even attach external fonts, meaning I can add from Google Fonts if I want to use English fonts here. There's a section for icons. There's a section, it says, "Sir, your icon library, for example, I have a main library with 1700 icons in it. You can choose from that, or for instance say, sir, I only select those that are light or basic icons." It completely depends on the needs of the store's settings because it's multi-purpose and not heavily focused on the store. For example, if you install the Denocolor template, all settings revolve around the store. But since this template is multi-purpose, it focuses more on corporate websites and has a small section for the store. So for example, if you are next to the company site and want to open a small store, you can easily sell a course product. Now I can specify the style of my store, how it should be, the number of columns, whether it has a sidebar, and what the color scheme should be. Again, I define its introduction section. I can advance it to decide whether it should have installment purchases or not, whether to bring up a pop-up for it or not. And the last part, guys, is import, export. I can export the settings I make for this template, so the next time or on the next website I want to work on, I can import it and won't have to go through the settings again. Guys, compared to other templates, it doesn't have a lot of template settings, but you can customize all the elements you need on the website. Now these are the general template settings. The template is based on Elementor, and I can open any page I need, guys. And use Elementor. All the sections you have provided me with are usually templates that you guys get which are compatible with Elementor, meaning they are compatible with Elementor, and have their own custom widgets. I can use these widgets to build pages. For example, let's look at the home page together. In the first slide, it has placed these sections for me where you can add text, you can add a title, you can add an image, you can add a complete 40-meter. Even the margins that I want to define, I can define what style or animation my text should have. I can define its position. It allows me to choose the icons I want to place. And it has a very extensive library compared to other templates. There are a lot of icons that I can use, so I can customize any part I need, add or reduce it, and even create a new homepage with this feature that the template itself provides me. For example, it says, sir, I have different elements, I have an accordion, I have animation headings, and many other things, occult and action, that I can place different icons, image boxes, and based on this I can design my pages. Now, the rest can be widgets for WooCommerce. So guys, in the first step, I set up the template, and after that, I move on to customizing the site. And very easily, I can design my site with the Essentials template.